Hello and welcome to the Freedomstein Laboratory. I am your host, Diane, and today is the ninth day of January 2026, and this is the first episode of 2026 for Freedomstein Laboratory. And yes, it's been 9 days because of multiple things. Got really busy, had, New Year's and all that stuff. And then I was working, and then I got the creep and crud, which you probably hear a little bit of the tail end of it. This is the first day that I felt like I sound mostly decent. So I could go ahead and put together a show for you guys. And frankly, nothing really happened over the last 9 days. Didn't miss anything, really. I mean, yeah, nothing happened with Venezuela, and Candace Owens hasn't gone really off the rails. And Dan Bongino's not losing his mind. Yeah, those are the things that we're going to be talking about on this episode. And we probably should mention, ICE and shootings and that kind of thing too. Or pow pows, pew pews. I don't think they pay any attention to me. I have 35 subscribers right now. So, I don't think I'm in too much trouble of YouTube wanting to lower the hammer on me. But so let's talk Venezuela to begin with. And honestly, I didn't know how to feel about this because obviously I'm a freedom person, hate dictators, hate anybody who wants to be an authoritarian. I am anti-establishment in the right way, not in the woke way. And so I really don't have a problem with getting rid of a dictator. I do have a problem when it's America doing it. But I don't really think that's what we were doing. Do you? I think the president actually fessed up to what we're doing. We want some resources, and these resources in Venezuela are on our side of everything over here. So we don't want China getting all that, Russia getting all that. That's ours. And really the oil was ours going all the way back to the 1970s. We had some deals with Venezuela and they reneged on us. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, we're going in and stealing all their oil." Well, it's not really all their oil. A lot of it's our oil and we're getting it back, kind of thing. But is this the way you go about doing things? First, I love our military. Most of my family has served in the military. I would have if I didn't have the darn asthma. So it was great to see our military just showing what they can do. It's kind of like with the Iran thing. I loved that whole part of it. It was is this really what we should be doing? That kind of made me a little bit, eh. Look, um, for years, I grew up with all these liberals around me telling me that America's an empire. We hate empire. And, I don't think being an empire is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's really, when you look at history, that's what countries do. They go in and conquer different things and take things. That's just what you do. And we act like because we live in the modern era that's not what you do anymore. But apparently you really should because you need all those resources and stuff. So I really don't have a problem with America being an empire, especially if we're going to be um not like, oh, we're going to just go in and firebomb everything and then take over a place. The way that we go about collecting things is relatively moral, I guess you could say. I like our way of doing things a little bit better. The problem is empires explode. They go away. They're gone. And we're always compared to Rome. And we know what happened to Rome. We're celebrating 250 years of America this year, the longest any republic has ever managed to last. And so we're kind of teetering on the edge of we really shouldn't be here anymore. And not only is our system of government very much like how Rome's was, but we also have the whole breads and circuses thing. Keep the people entertained and they'll, won't notice that all this other stuff is going on around them that they should probably be a little bit worried about. And I have a prop that I wanted to use today and I forgot to grab it off my desk. Where is he? There he is. All right. So I know I got grief about having a Mickey Mouse shirt on. So if I show anything Disney, oh my God. But there was this movie that Disney came out with. I love Wally. Isn't he cute? Look, his little arms move and everything. So anyway, When I saw this movie, I went, huh, well, it's a cute little heartwarming movie that, a lot of kids might take away that, oh, we've got this robot and he likes to, he's looking for life, the signs of life. He has hope that he's going to go down to this planet that's been destroyed because underneath everything, Wally was like, the climate change people were trying to show us, like, this is what the earth is going to become because you're destroying it. But that's not what I got out of it. I was like, oh, he has a lot of hope that he's going to find life on Earth. And he does. He finds a plant. But the thing that was really interesting about that movie is where Wally comes from because the Earth was so devastated. Nobody could live here anymore. So all the people of Earth had to go live in a spaceship out in outer space while they were trying to clean up Earth and make it habitable again. And the interesting thing about all the people that were on this spaceship is it was like this breads and circuses thing. They were all like 2 tons in weight, riding around on these little floaty chairs that would just take them wherever they wanted to go. And they were so consumed with distraction, their circuses, they never paid attention to anything around them. They just, they're slurping down the sugar, they're eating the sugar, getting all fat and happy. And then they're just constantly watching stuff. They're not even communicating with anybody. They're just completely absorbed in the distraction. And then Wally finally gets this couple to like break out of the distraction, and then more people start coming, and then eventually they're all able to go back to Earth, and everything's going to be, happy, and they lived happily ever after kind of thing. But what I loved about that movie is I was like, this is the problem. It's not the climate change thing that they're trying to make the movie about. This is the issue here. And this is what America really is. I mean, when you look around you, people are constantly just looking at their phones and distracted with all that. And they're easily distracted with, like, I would call her the one of the masters of distraction, Candace Owens. She's doing a great job with her little distraction thing over there. And you could see where these people are like the people that were that listened to Candace. They're just like ultra focused and honed in and not thinking for themselves or noticing anything else. It's just like, oh, what's happening here? Complete focus. And she's got their complete attention. She could say anything, do anything, and they're like, whoop. And then there's some of us who are like the people that are going around on the chairs, and all of a sudden something hits us and we like come out of our stupor and go, huh, something isn't right here. Now, obviously, for me, it started with the Mitch email where I thought that was BS. And then the meeting with Erica, which was a bunch of word salad and didn't tell us anything. And now she's all of a sudden telling us other things about it that she hadn't relayed before. So anything she talks about that meeting now, I just assume she's making up, because why wouldn't have you told us that then? When you tell us this far down the road, I'm like, I don't understand why you would do that. Wouldn't you just lay it all out to us right at the time? Then she had Mitch on, and it was like, oh boy. Well, then, Candace takes her 2 weeks off, sort of. But all during it, she still, she has her Instagram live, and then she does space on X, and she's constantly commenting on X and everything. And she puts up this picture of the sign going into Fort Huachuca, the sign on the highway that says Fort Huachuca. She posts that. And oh, I got big stuff I'm going to be showing everybody. Get ready. We're about to drop everything, on this last Monday here of this week. And I was like, I was done with Candace, but I'll watch that one coming back. Let's see, because she supposedly has the goods. And I'm reading the comments under it, and people are going, oh, did Candace go to Fort Huachuca? And I was like, are you morons? Really? You think she would take her Christmas break and go to Fort Huachuca and actually do some investigation? You silly people. When she can sit in her basement and have you guys email her all these wonderful things that you supposedly think you know. Yeah, no. Candace didn't go to Fort Huachuca. And do you know, from what I can tell, I only watched Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I go to Cinema Shogun on X, and he does like the Cliff Notes version. Thank you, Cinema, for taking one for the team. And I just get caught up on what he says because I can't do it. I can't endure it. That's why I'm not watching it right now. I think she's on, maybe not. I think she takes Fridays off too. So who knows? But I don't need to watch her whining and whining and whining about Ben Shapiro. It's like, he's so obsessed with me. I'm going to talk about him all the time. And then I was like, well, who's obsessed with who? It sounds like you're obsessed with them. But, and I didn't think I'd want to watch any new show called The No No about Candace. The No No Show, I think is what it's called. But now I'm kind of like, it might be kind of funny. I don't know. Might be kind of good. But anyway, so Candace had 2 weeks to get all this stuff together, and people think she's playing 4D chess. And she says she's 2 steps ahead of everybody. And so everybody's like, she's got all this stuff. We know she's got pictures probably from Fort Huachuca too. I'm sure that Mitch took pictures of everybody in the lobby because he was just ready for this. If he had pictures of people from the lobby, I'd be like, now we know it's a CIA plant or something, because who walks into a hotel and just starts snapping pictures of people? Especially when it's just like a Candlewood Inn and Suites. Now, if it's a historic hotel, I am in that lobby taking pictures because a lot of historic hotels are just gorgeous inside. Love them. But this is not the kind of place where you would be taking pictures in there unless you're taking them, a selfie for somebody, or, hey, I'm here with somebody. Can we get our picture together? Something like that. She's dropped nothing. I mean, you think, wow, wait till Candace comes back. And it's so funny to watch all the people that are still on the Candace train just going, oh, wow. What? The only new thing that she put out is supposedly now she didn't put the whole video that was filmed from behind that TPUSA took out of the camera, Terrell Farnsworth or whatever, but she had a couple of still shots from it. And she was showing everybody, look, see, I've got this picture from behind, no blood. Okay, and we already knew there was no blood back there. I've seen other angles from the behind that wasn't straight behind, but it was from the right behind. And I didn't see any blood, so I knew there wasn't any blood. We've been told that the bullet didn't go through, so there'd be no reason to have any blood behind him. It would actually have been a whoa if there was blood behind him, but no. And she'd already told us there was no blood from behind. So what is that? What's the point other than you taking a picture that none of us wants to see and putting it up for public consumption? We've already seen the videos of Charlie and what happened to him. I don't need to see it from the rear when you've already told me. Supposedly we're supposed to just believe everything you tell us. So I don't even know why she did that, but she started talking about Korea and China and the Asia trip that Charlie took, and supposedly now that has something to do with his assassination. I was like, things have just gotten crazy. But today, this thing that she posted today, I was like, okay, people are always telling me that Candace is an intelligent woman. And I went, yeah, I don't think she's an intelligent woman. I don't know if she's dumb because of her bias or if she's just dumb. Okay. So here we have this James Wood, and he has posted about what has happened here with this Chinese pastor named Ezra Jin. He's the leader of Beijing's Zion Church, and he's in China. And I think people know that being a Christian in China, you can't really do it. It's more of an underground kind of thing. And this James Wood said, while freedom of belief is protected in China, unregistered religious organizations are illegal because they fall outside transparency, oversight, and accountability laws. They really just don't want you to believe in anything. Communism doesn't want to have a God. And this Beijing Zion Church is a large unregistered Christian network that spread across multiple provinces and online after being shut down in 2018. So they detained him recently. And so Candace picks up on this. And she posts this to her X feed today. And she's like, as my episode yesterday revealed, under the guise of spreading Christianity and establishing churches, the Mossad and CIA are infiltrating countries. It's both a historical and present fact. They are also engaged in global trafficking. She just throws this crap out there and has no evidence for it. And she, as my episode yesterday revealed, I didn't watch it, but what I heard was just it was a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Nobody could follow whatever this is. I know that Sung Young Moon of the Moonies somehow came up, and I'm like, why are you talking about a cult? I mean, I know that people are starting to call people who continue to follow you part of a cult, but why are you bringing up a cult if you're talking about Christianity or whatever? The Moonies are not Christian. But I'm sitting here going, what the hell is she talking about? It's talking about that this Chinese pastor has been detained and they don't want him and his organization going forward. And then she brings in the Mossad and CIA. And the only thing in my brain that could even like make sense of what she's trying to say here is, you see here, the name of the church is Zion Church. And we know she hates Zionists. And I have to think to myself, does she not know what Zion is? Like Mount Zion, that's like God's mountain. Zion is like God's territory. I don't know that she knows this. That's why I'm like, is she just dumb? I don't know. And so many people have jumped on this. First of all, if you were a Christian, which I sometimes wonder with her Catholicism stuff and everything, but let's just give her the benefit of the doubt that she is a Christian. Wouldn't you be wanting to help other Christians, especially in communist countries that are trying to spread God's word and get it out there? Yes, I'm sure the Mossad and CIA are trying to spread Christianity throughout China. They're really going to get them with that, aren't they? How is spreading Christianity a bad thing? You know, this whole idea that you have this military base that is training people to go into churches and Christian organizations to do what? I mean, spread the word of God? Oh my gosh. I don't even, I just can't. Okay, if you want to talk about the CIA infiltrating the hippies over in Haight-Ashbury back in the day, okay, fine. But I really can't comprehend the whole getting into the Christian thing, because if anything, Christianity is pretty much in a decline here in the West. I think everybody could admit that. It wasn't until Charlie Kirk was assassinated that people even started going, well, maybe I should go back to church and stuff. It hasn't gotten me to want to do that, but I just, what do you do with a problem like Candace? I'm hearing that song. What do you do with a problem like Maria? From The Sound of Music. She had dropped down to 56. And she was saying, my podcast had been going down in the rankings because I haven't been on air for 2 weeks. Well, she comes back supposedly with a bang and she was 56 over on Spotify. I'm like, not looking good for you, Candace, really. All right. And then I wanted to share this from Patriot Dad. Let me get the sound on here. I want to bring this back here, pause it for a minute and get it so it's on the full screen for you guys. And let's hear what he has to say.
Oh, man. Yeah, you Candyland cultists got played. You got played by a foreign intel operation. It is now more clear than ever that Candace Owens is an asset working on behalf of foreign intel. The connections between Candace Owens, her husband, George Farmer, his dad, Lord Farmer, and his mining enterprises and the Bank of London, and the really strange connections between all of that and Sir Richard Dearlove, the former head of MI6, who was the boss of Christopher Steele, who wrote the Steele dossier, which started the Russian collusion hoax, which was designed to take out Donald Trump. But you got played. You got played. And you did it to yourselves, because anyone paying close enough attention to what was happening in the Candyland cult saga knew that it was heading down a direction of a supermarket tabloid. And she just played you.
It's because an offer came to him to become the next Moon, to turn Turning Point, which is already a $100 million organization, into a multi-billion dollar organization, like in real estate and purchasing businesses, and doing all sorts of things, working with the military and the top politicians in the world. And she just turned the other way. Don't ask questions about where the money's coming from or how you're getting the money. Just keep things afloat and keep poisoning the minds of the youth. And you keep saying that you're doing all this in the name of the Lord.
On the Patriot Source podcast, we have run down an entire list of all of the people, organizations, and countries that at some point have been accused by Candace Owens and her crazy army of sock puppets of being involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And now she has finally settled on her theory. Her theory is that somebody, somewhere, wanted to take Turning Point USA and turn it into a child trafficking organization, just like what happened with the Moon guy over in South Korea. It's a supermarket tabloid at this point. The guy that I posted that video from was trying to convince his audience that J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk are long-lost, separated siblings. It's a tabloid. It's crazy. But the problem is, she's not a very good asset because she just gave it away. Did you notice at the end of that clip where Candace Owens made the statement that if you just keep poisoning the minds of the youth and pretend that you're doing it in the name of God, then you can just keep going? That is entirely her perspective. And it's exactly why they're doing everything they can to destroy the organization.
Now, of course, I don't think that TPUSA is all on the up and up either. But I just find it so interesting where she seemed to have started with this whole investigation where she's come now. And this is like, this is my theory. This is where exactly I'm at. That's it. And again, no proof for any of it. And she's constantly been saying, I feel. Like she still believes that Brian Harpole was at Fort Huachuca. And she tells the audience, I feel it. I feel that Brian Harpole was there. I just feel it. And I went, I think she's gone back to her liberal roots because that's what liberals do. Liberals feel. People on the right, we have logic. So you have to show me stuff. You have to prove things to me. I don't just feel it. You have to have proof, especially throwing around the stuff that she does. I don't know if she's ever going to get off this, but she's just going to continue to sink and sink. People are going to continue to get off that train. And I don't know what she's going to switch to next because once this is done, and there are so many people that have put their caboose onto her train, I guess you could say. A lot of these influencers, and I'm like, I just was listening Barron the other day. He was like, Barron Coleman, I went in and, quit my job. This is what I'm going to do. And I was like, I've been in this industry for a long time. And I've seen where podcasting is going right now and stuff and streaming and everything. And you're riding high right now because you're riding that Candace thing. But the Candace train is going down the hill now and there's no other big hill going up. So if I was Barron's wife, I'd be like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Because I had so many friends who started doing really good with podcasting. They quit their day jobs. And then the next thing you know, a couple of years later, they're out having to find that day job again. And it's like, oh, crud, I shouldn't have given that up. I'm like, never rely on this kind of stuff where it's on ad revenue or people donating to you because that dries up. It goes away. Stick with the sure thing. All right. So there's that distraction. Now, the other thing that we had happen is Dan Bongino is back out, folks. We're so excited about this. I don't know how people like do some of the things they do and then they come right back out and put themselves out in front of everybody and try to pretend like nothing happened here, folks. Speaking of distractions, Dan is hoping that you are distracted and don't notice, that he came out and told you right to your face that, where did it go? That Epstein didn't kill himself. Let's see if it'll play here.
The thing about blackpillers, where everything sucks all the time, is they're like, well, we're demanding accountability, but you're not great. So am I. That you're endlessly complaining about things you don't know anything about. Like that's all you do. Like he'll shut down the border, 10 people across the month. Why wasn't it 0? Okay, well, can you just acknowledge going from 1 million to 10 is a big deal? That way, and there's a cost to that. And the cost you see is in, polling numbers around the midterms. You can't let this negative vibe constantly set in. That doesn't mean healthy debates about policy are not welcome. Hey, I'm not a big tariff guy. I've said that 1,000 times. Debating policies are fine. I think a lot of the so-called damage from the tariffs was dramatically over-exaggerated. Even people who don't like them having to acknowledge that now. The economy's motoring, 4% growth. But the black pill complaining and whining all the time about the administration, it's just like, man, what team are you on? Holy Moses, man. So you don't have to watch. It's okay. There's a door, go find the freaking exits. Because I don't really give a shit. I'm not here for anybody's money or anything like that. I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. All of you black pillars and stuff like that. I mean, you should not be getting upset that Trump is doing things that you didn't vote for, like this Venezuela thing. I mean, did you vote for it? I didn't vote for it. I'm glad that we're being honest about what we're doing, but yeah. So if you are complaining about what's going on, you're just black pilled. You know what black pills people, Dan? When you guys get paid millions of dollars to scream into a camera and you actually have the opportunity to do something about it and you don't. And we've been watching this crap for decades. Oh, we're gonna have a little committee meeting and we're gonna haul these people in for a hearing and we're gonna hold their feet to the fire. And then nothing happens. I don't care if you could scream at somebody in front of a camera. I don't care if you could scream at a camera. If you have the opportunity to do something, do something. Now, you guys, you tell us you saved a bunch of children, which is commendable and wonderful. But we didn't get any of the big arrests. We didn't get any big deets released to all of us with all this transparency. Do any of us feel like the FBI and the CIA are cleaned out and things that we can actually trust now? No. And the fact that you didn't even hold out for a year? I mean, just looking at his eyes in that clip, I'm like, there's something that I don't know. They took him into a back room and I don't know if they did the MK Ultra thing to him or whatever. But these guys, it's Tim Pool, same way. It's like they just completely melt down and they're just like, you don't have to listen. F you. Go away. And Dan's just been going around blocking everybody and their brother. If you say anything negative to him or push back on him, he's just blocking. So now people are running around going, look, I got my block. I got my block too. I don't have any back and forth with him. I don't care to. I remember the Dan back in 2009 who was like wanting to make a change and going to make a change and young and fresh faced about that. Now it's just like, why did you come back to your podcast? Well, because you weren't making enough money over there, right? You probably thought, I can go back to my podcast making millions of dollars where people think I hung the moon and I am just the greatest guy on the planet. Or I could be over here behind cash and not getting shit done and people just going off on me. It really is just pathetic. So the last thing I had here, when I was listening to a bunch of different podcasts about stuff, is, they talk about the astroturfing, MAGA, and the anti-establishment right. And I feel like we have three different things that are going on there. You have people like myself who are the anti-establishment right. You got your Tucker Carlson, maybe Megyn Kelly. She can't really decide where she's at. I don't really put Candace with us anymore because I don't know what Candace is doing. A Dave Smith, people who are just conservative, but not with the establishment. We don't like it when because here's the thing, folks, what we watched happen with Venezuela, that is the president grabbing a whole lot of power. All the EUs that he's done, EOs, executive orders, like all of that stuff that they do where they're making Congress irrelevant. Well, in 2026, what Dan was talking about there, the midterms, we're going to lose them. I have no doubt about it. I would put my money over at Polymarket or whatever on that. We're going to lose that. And the last 2 years of Trump's, he's just going to be getting impeached and not getting anything done. So I already know that that's the future we're looking at. So we've got maybe one good year here and then. But you've got these people who are like, we've got to be all in for that. And I'm like, if you want to get people back on board with you, you can't just like scream at them about being black pilled and just get on board. And because you know how many times we've been hearing through the years, if you don't vote for this, and that's going to happen. Because we know the Dems are complete socialists. So if they get in, it's going to be bad socialism that's going to be coming our way. We know that. But I frankly am tired of voting to prevent that from happening. Because when I do that, then you just give me that light almost. And it's just like, I can't keep voting and not having you guys like actually do what we wanted you to do. So astroturfing, like the stuff that we see in these different cities when ICE is in them, you've got all the people coming out. That is astroturf. When the people come out and they are protesting, that kind of thing. And I would love it if you could get these people who are astroturfing out there to actually do some legitimate protesting. Most of us are all on the same team. They want to make us feel like we're completely divided, but we're not. We are all on the same team on a lot of things. What happened with ICE in Minneapolis, though? Look, you cannot take your cars and block things. What I've never understood about any of these engagements that we've had where you have the police and they've ended up killing somebody who is not listening to them and following the law or the orders. Just follow the orders. I don't understand. You know, if they tell you to get out of your car, just get out of your car. It's like a badge of honor, I thought, for them to get arrested anyway. They'll talk to you, question you for a little bit, and then you're free to go, and everybody's still alive. You can go home to your child. But for some reason, this woman, Renee, thought, I think I'll back up my car and then I'll floor it, get my wheels to spin, and tap a cop, and then, nothing will happen to me. I don't know if these people really think that they're not going to actually do anything. And then they just stand on the street and call the ICE officers murderers. You're never going to get through to those people, but it is clear as day to me when you watch the videos that this woman was going to try to kill them. I don't know what to do about all of this stuff, because the interesting thing is, it doesn't seem like we're doing the deportation like we had been. So I kind of feel like they're sending ICE into these places. Again, it's distraction. It just feels like everything is to distract us. And what are they distracting us from? That's what I'm worried about. Because it's like, I feel like we're on fast forward towards something. You got over here, people are telling you, we're going to have a world war coming. 2026, we're going to have a big war. And you start to look over there, and then it's like, wait, this woman, she got killed over here by ICE. Oh, okay. Let me pay attention to this. Well, what's happening here? And then over here, we're gonna up the budget at the Pentagon, like way up the budget, like wartime budget. Huh? They put a bunch of money towards the Pentagon for what? What? The Pentagon hasn't been passing any of its audits ever in the last, decades. When's the last time the Pentagon actually passed an audit? Money, huh? Wait, there's some people over here got killed over in Portland by ICE again, or Border Patrol, or what? I don't even know at this point. It's just constant distraction. And so whenever you have all this distracting stuff going on, it's like, what don't they want us to pay attention to? And why does the president want Greenland so bad? Are the resources in Greenland that great? Or do we need that to be a good base of operations for, again, a war? AI is just like boom, 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 boom. Elon Musk has told us it's reached singularity. I don't know. Is 2026 the year that we're going to everything implodes, explodes, whatever, and not in a good way? I don't know. My advice, don't let them distract you. If you want to be distracted on purpose, go for it. Play a few video games or whatever. Watch the show on TV. Choose your distraction, but make sure you are paying attention too. Get distracted every so often just to ease your mental state, but pay attention. I really feel like this year, some major stuff is coming down. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, please, and subscribe. I got a new subscriber, so I'm so excited. I'd like to get some more. And you guys have a great rest of your evening.